Introducing Oakley Meta Vanguard, the new performance AI glasses designed for athletes. With hands-free capture on an action-ready ultra-wide camera, powerful open-ear speakers, and built-in Meta AI that syncs with your Garmin devices for real-time insights while you train. Take your performance to the next level with Oakley Meta Vanguard. Athletic intelligence is here. Learn more on meta.com.
A message from McAfee. Wondering why the post office is texting you or why you owe thousands of dollars in toll fees? Because someone's trying to scam you. The good news? McAfee can help. With McAfee's award-winning scam detection, it's easy to tell what's real and what's fake over text, in your inbox, and online. If they're
You want a free gift?
Seriously? If they're faking it, they're not making it past us. Get award-winning scam detection today. McAfee.com/keepitreal.
The all-new 2026 Hyundai Palisade Hybrid doesn't just turn heads. It commands respect. With its stunning exterior, luxurious interior with available captain seats, and spacious third-row seating and equipped with advanced technology, you and the family are making a statement before you even step out. Okay, Hyundai. Visit HyundaiUSA.com to learn more and experience the all-new 2026 Palisade Hybrid today.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst, healthcare pros, word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
Meet the computer you can talk to. With Copilot on Windows, working, creating, and collaborating is as easy as talking. Got writer's block? Share your screen with Copilot Vision to help spark inspiration and use Copilot Voice to have a conversation and brainstorm ideas. Or maybe you need some tech help. With Copilot Vision, Copilot sees what you see. Let Copilot talk you through step-by-step guidance so you can master new apps, games, and skills faster. Try now at windows.com/Copilot.
Hello and welcome to Islanders Anxiety from Lighthouse Hockey and the Fans First Sports Network. My name is Dan Saracini. Joining me on this Monday evening via Zencaster is my friend Michael Leboff. And Mike, believe it or not, the Islanders lost last night, and I am not all that mad about it, considering how they did in the three preceding games, really four preceding games, one we've already talked about. A loss in Denver to the Avalanche on the fifth of a 7-game road trip, playing them really tough, really is only maybe 2 or 3 minutes worth of game time to complain about. Otherwise, the Islanders played a pretty solid game. Not a ton to complain about. We'll find something, I'm sure. But at the same time, it's been a pretty solid, productive, and positive week for the Islanders, considering what they've done in this road trip so far.
Maybe their most encouraging week in two years. I'm trying to think of
maybe
like the stretch where they made the playoffs in Waz's first stint, his first year when he took over for Lambert, and they went 8-1-1 to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But even that, it was, that's you were white knuckling through it, so
right.
You couldn't really appreciate what was happening. It was get the wins by hook or by crook, and this has been quite encouraging, and we've said so many times, including earlier this season when they started 0-3, and then that game against the Jets, we're just done with moral victories. The time for moral victories with this group is years and years past. But it felt good to, in a weird way. I was almost relieved that they lost yesterday. I was like, it feels nice to to feel okay with a loss again. It's been a really long time since we got to feel that uniquely fan emotion. And the more and more that this stretch has gone on, the more and more this season has started to remind me of 2018 and 19, when you could things were a little messy on the ice, like that you could tell they weren't a fully finished product, but the vision was there. Each passing game they were starting to click a little bit more. And it was clear that, and they were just trying to win while they got their legs under them, and while they got the system down, and find a way to just get results. And then, as one of my friends Mike said, they just needed to learn to be good. And it feels like that's what we're in. We're in this like funny phase where they're just learning to be good, and they're winning while they're doing it, which keeps them, of course, in the playoff mix, and keeps us happy as fans, and it's encouraging. And I would say that a couple times this week I was like, wow, there's something special going on here. And that's not something I've thought about and felt as a fan in a long time, because in the 2 seasons that they made the playoffs, under Lambert and then under Waugh, it wasn't ever something special is going on here. It was just you were just in the foxhole, in the trenches, going over the line to get into the playoffs, and then the reward was not, there was no reward really.
Right.
This time it feels very different. So I'm not exhausted at all anymore, which I'm looking forward to their game tomorrow. And
which in and of itself is like a change. Like, you're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a lot to get used to. I'm watching and listening to the coverage of the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are mired in like their first 5-game losing streak in 5 years. Like, they don't know how to deal with this at all. They don't know how to deal with the adversity and the injuries and such, because they just never had to go through it with this group. It's been a long time since they've had to deal with it. And over here, we're kind of dealing with the other end of the spectrum. Like, oh, we're getting some bounces. We're getting the results that we deserve in a good way. Everyone's getting better. That the vibes are high. The guys are having fun. And that's taking getting used to too. It doesn't feel like a chore.
Well, I think this will be a very Leafs free episode for the most part, but I was listening to Real Kipper and Bourne from Friday upon your recommendation. I finally listened to it this morning or this afternoon while I was at work. And at one point, they were talking about Tavares being good and the Leafs still lost. And Bourne said that somebody sent him a message. This might have been you too, I'm not sure, but somebody sent him a message saying, yeah, you just described every Islanders game from about 15 years ago, where Tavares plays out of his mind and the rest of the guys around him just aren't doing anything, and then they play okay and then they lose. And the realization that set in on those guys was like, oh my God, really? Like, now we've become this thing that we made fun of for so long, and like it's sort of flipped, and like the Islanders now are exciting. Like, these games are exciting, they're fun. This is an electric team. I won't go so far to say that they are good. We'll get to some of the flaws still. There's a couple of defensemen on this team that I would really rather not see anymore because they are driving me absolutely bonkers. But for the most part, these games have been fun. And I have found myself cheering and getting into games in a way that I hadn't in several years, because like you said, the payoff wasn't really there. Maybe they make the playoffs and you knew they were going to be set for a date against the Carolina Hurricanes, who were just going to ground them into paste. Okay, well, that's great. And, there were times, I think, I feel like right after they acquired Bo Horvat, they went on a bit of a winning streak too. The year before, Waugh came in, but again, there was like Horvat came in and Barzal immediately got hurt, and so Bo was doing all the work, and they were winning, but it was a little this is weird. Like, they're winning, but I'm not sure if I'm having any fun.
Exactly. It felt like you're at the gym or something, right? And you're like, this feels. You said it a couple of weeks ago, and this is supposed to be your hobby. Right now, it feels like that. It's rewarding you in the way that a hobby would. That somebody who's building model airplanes, after they finish a model airplane, and maybe it took a little bit to get there, but they finish it, it looks great. They probably feel very rewarded after that. It's how these Islander games feel right now. And what's added to it is that we're all these. You look outside, you go to the Stop and Shop or to the deli, grab a bagel or something, you could see where the Islander fans are on that line because they're bleary eyed and exhausted because it's all taking place in these in late night fashion. So you've been staying up late. I've been staying up late. We've all been staying up late watching these things, and there's just nothing like the wins that we got to watch when it's near 1 a.m. in the morning and the lights are down, kids are asleep upstairs, dogs asleep on the couch, and you're just like, holy shit. And you just realize, oh God, I cannot wake up the house. But that was awesome. And it's at once solitary, but you know that there's a lot of Islander fans that you're getting texts and stuff who are doing the same thing, dancing around in their living rooms at 1 a.m. and then they're like, all right, time to go to bed.
Yeah. my experience was my wife going to sleep while I was still watching the game, and then she wakes up and she goes, how do they do? And then I'm like, oh my God. And then I have to like explain this whole, like I watched the entire movie while she was asleep, and then gets all things. But, again, it's fun. And, what I call the Islanders a good team, I think parts of them are good. Half the team is good on a nightly basis. Oh my God, they got some players who are playing out of their minds right now. And that's fun to see. There's some guys that I think need to pick it up or get shipped out, but we'll get to them in a few minutes. We are going to cover all 4 games that the Islanders played since the last time we spoke about. We're going to cover the next 4 games they have. Man, this schedule is insane. And then we're going to talk about an article that came out today that we both found very interesting. So we got a lot to cover. Before we dive into all this, reminder that we are on Patreon, patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety. Membership gets you ad-free episodes, bonus podcasts, written posts, access to chats, and a whole lot more. You can try a 7-day free trial of our country club tier, or you can just sign up for free to get our weekly release calendar. And I don't know, anything else we throw out there. So sign up today, patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety. Okay. Why don't we talk about the 3 overtime wins as sort of one block, and then we'll talk about the loss to the Avalanche kind of separately. So we recorded last on Sunday. Monday, the Islanders played in New Jersey. They won that game 3-2 in overtime. It looked at the beginning that it was going to be a disaster. Timo Meier, who, I mean, let's just be honest, this guy's a stiff. Like, I can't, every time he scores, I'm like, I forgot this guy is even here. Like, thank God the Islanders didn't trade for this guy because he would have been run out of town on a rail. For whatever they're paying him, I don't get it. Anyway, he makes it 1-0 on the power play. And it was all Devils at first. And you're like, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster. But the Islanders kind of settle in. They get it into gear. They're good PK, which has become a thing now for them. Like their penalty kill works now for, I don't know what they've done, but so far, knock on wood, it's been working. Horvat splits the D, kind of a weird angle. Rister ties the game at 1. Much better period. Ilya Sorokin was huge this entire week. You got another big PK in the third period. 3 minutes left. Schaefer finds Palmieri in front, shovels home the game, what looked like the lead, the go-ahead goal. I'm sure Devils fans love that. They kill off the next 2.5 minutes or so, and then with time winding down, Alex Romanov, and we talked about this a little bit on our mailbag episode we did last week over at the Patreon, Romanov has his man tied up against the boards, and then he just backs away, and Simon Nemec gets the puck, blasted through a screen of Romanov and Scott Mayfield, ties the game with 4.7 seconds left, and you're like, okay. Like, at this point, this is a game we've seen before, and the Islanders have lost this game many, many times. It was just like, oh, come on, really? We're doing this? But overtime, something magical happens. Ryan Pulock nearly loses the puck to Jack Hughes. We'll talk about him again in a few minutes. Matt Barzal not only saves the puck from going to Hughes, who surely would have ended the game, passes up to Jonathan Drouin, and then takes off. And then Drouin finds Barzal again, who is now on a breakaway. He scores the goal, 3-2 Islanders final. Again, Sorokin was tremendous, 33 saves. Markstrom was very good too, made 21. The PK was absolutely enormous, particularly in the third period, which again is something we have not said in a long time. And it started out terrible, but it ended up being one of the more exciting wins to that date of the season. We'll get to the other 2 games in a second, but that was a really exciting game, and I really enjoyed it. And I mean, yes, the Islanders won, but like it ended up being a lot of fun for what looked like it was going to be off the rails before it even got on the rails.
Yeah, this was the first game that really started to smack me in the face with the 2018-19 year one of Trotz vibes. Like, they show up, the other team is swarming them, and you can tell like they realize that, and they're like, all right, we'll lean on the goalie, we'll bend, we won't break. Maybe they get one, then we'll figure it out. And as the game went on, they Barry Trotz used to say, well, we found our game, and they kind of found their game, and began to push the Devils around a bit. I thought to a man, the Islanders were really good. Like, and as you said, like that goal, I wasn't even mad that the Devils tied it up. Honestly, I really wasn't. I was just kind of like, oh, all right, well, and the Devils have done that to us. So what, 3 or 4 times in the past 2 seasons? So it felt par for the course. And then they get the win on one of the moments of the season, I think. Not saying it was like an amazing goal or anything like that, but to go from watching Ryan Pollock try to pass the puck to Jack Hughes to then Matt Barzal realizing, oh man, my guy Ryan is playing for the Devils. I gotta go. I gotta go set it. I gotta go set his record straight and make sure he knows. Hey Ryan, you're an Islander. We got to go that way, and rescues the game. And great celebration, great win. Then another thing that I feel 2018-19 vibes with is like the Islanders would like kind of show up in a place and they would just like mess up that team's aura, their juju, their mogumbo, whatever you want to call it. And those teams would either go into like these weird tailspins or weird stuff would start to happen to them. And obviously, we don't root for injuries on this podcast, Elliot, but the Jack Hughes thing happens a few days later too. And it's just, and whatever injuries happen, that's a freak one and an unfortunate one, but it just opens the door for the Islanders now against the Devils in like their race for first or second or third in the division. It helps the Islanders, obviously, that Jack Hughes won't be playing. Their best player won't be playing for them for at least 2 months. So it was just like a very, I don't know. It was this, that win felt like, oh boy, like they're actually going to do something here. I'm not totally sure what, but it's going to be, there's something going on. I can feel it. You can start to feel it in the air. And they had 2 days off between. So you got that feeling got to sink in as like the rest of the league, ate itself alive with the Canadians are stumbling. The Leafs are stumbling. There's all sorts of stuff going on with the Oilers, and like the Islanders are kind of like just like quietly having a ball over there. And they go out on the road trip, their first long one of the season. They've got 2 7-game road trips this season. So this was the first of 2 7-game road trips of the season. And as we talked about, once the schedule got released, we looked at November. We're like, well, season's probably going to end sometime around like November 14th when they got to do this 2-step between Vegas, Utah, and a 3-step between Vegas, Utah, and Colorado. So we might as well enjoy it until then. And then it'll be Thanksgiving and the holidays, and we'll pick back up in January because there's no way they're coming out of this alive. And boy, were we wrong.
Yeah. I'm guessing the next one is probably the Western Conference like swing. So we're talking like Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, that kind of thing. That's a whole other kettle of fish. But
I mean, I used to always have conspiracy theories about the Islanders schedule, and I feel like it's calmed down a little bit because they'd be the team that would be like, oh yeah, the Islanders are playing, they're on a 6-game road trip. It's Tampa, Florida, back to back. Then they're off. Then they're in Ottawa, and then they're in Carolina. And you're like, what are you making this team do? Why are you? They're like, well, it's because Mike Milbury's not paying for their flights, so we're just going to screw them until they pony up.
Yeah. The Pollock play. I mean, again, all credit to the Islanders. Played a good game, and they righted the ship fairly early. And all credit goes to Matt Barzal and Jonathan Drouin for hooking up on that spectacular goal. But man, I don't know what. Talk about a controller disconnect. Like, I don't know, Pollock just that drop pass, man. If I was thinking about this during this week, I remember, forget what game it was. It might've been the Vegas game. Actually, it might've been the Utah game because they started that one very, very poorly. I was thinking to myself, if I was ever a hockey coach, every single time you did a drop pass, I would fine you $1,000. And there would be an assistant coach whose job it would be to mark down who had a drop pass. And then that person would owe me $1,000. So if you did that 3 times in a game, that's 3 large coming my way. Immediately. I'm not, it's just, I can't get over. I don't know what he was thinking at doing that, but thank God Barzal was there to clean up the mess. We'll get to Romanov again in a few minutes because there was a game when he was very much playing for the other team. I forget if it was Vegas or Utah. I guess I'll remember as we recap. But yeah, so at that point, the Islanders had beaten the Rangers 5-0 at the Garden on Saturday night. They beat the Devils 3-2 in overtime. on Monday. Everybody's feeling great as we get the hell out of the Metro Division, and we end up in Las Vegas. The Islanders win that game in overtime, 4-3. It's all Vegas early. The Islanders have no shots on goal. They have zero possession in the offensive zone at all. D'Angelo gives the puck away. It's almost a breakaway. But then Heineman, who's making a habit out of this, passes to Horvat, back to Heineman at the top of the circle. He scores, makes it 1-0. Then Schaefer, this might be one of my favorite goals, of the non sort of game changing variety I've seen in a long time. Just a laser wrister from the top of the circles, 80 miles an hour it was clocked as, just zips through like it was on a string. Makes it 2-0 Islanders. They got outplayed, but they had a lead. You knew it wasn't going to last, and of course it didn't. It was all Vegas again in the second period. So Tony D basically kills an Islanders power play all by himself. I don't know what he's thinking. He's taking the puck. He's taking it out of the zone. And I guess he didn't have a chance, but like, dude, you just literally killed your own team's power play. I don't understand what was going on. Shea Theodore gets around everybody. It's kind of an embarrassing goal. Schaefer's right there, gets a great look at it, pokes the puck inside, makes it 2-1 Vegas towards the end of the period. People were like, why didn't they challenge it? He pushed the puck in, with the goalie's pad. Dude, the Islanders are never going to win that challenge. Forget it. But apparently that's the thing you're not supposed to do. I've seen it go either way for the Islanders, so I'm glad he didn't challenge it. But they challenged something else later. So they start the third period with a lot of momentum with a power play. They don't get any goals. On a delayed penalty, Tomas Hertl smacks in a rebound in front, ties the game at 2. A few minutes later, so it was the Vegas game in which Romanov and D'Angelo were playing for the other team, because Romanov literally passes the puck to Riley Smith, who starts a whole sequence and then scores, make it 3-2 Vegas. And you're like, what is going on right now? Why are you playing for the other team? Where every single time Romanov touched the puck in this game, it ended up on the stick of a Vegas player. It was unreal. I don't know what he's doing there, but they challenge it. It fails. They get a good kill on the ensuing power play, on the penalty, I should say. Then Drouin finds Schaefer. He fakes, kind of head fakes a little bit, finds Barzal, who one-times it, ties the game at 3. This is another thing we've never seen from the Islanders before. One-timers. It's amazing. Imagine that. So you just pass the puck, and instead of dusting it off and playing with it for 15 minutes, you just let it go, and it goes in the net. Go figure. It gets to overtime. There's chances on both ends. Theodore hits the post. A lot of posts in this game. Barzal tries a power move in front, doesn't go. Horvat gets a breakaway, doesn't go. Eichel gets stopped by Sorokin. Great save. The Islanders take a too many men on the ice penalty in overtime. This was their second one of the game, which is like, come on, really? You're thinking the same thing I am, which is a penalty in overtime is basically the kiss of death. Like 9 times out of 10, you're going to score. I mean, it's 4-on-3. It's very hard to kill a penalty with just 3 guys on the ice. JG Pageau wins the faceoff. Tomas Hertl, who took the faceoff for Vegas, basically kind of falls down to a knee. Pageau gets around him, just starts skating. The only guy between him and the goalie is Mitch Marner. Did you know that Paul Marner's son is playing for Vegas now? I had no idea. I was like, whoa, is that Paul Marner's son? I didn't know idea. Anyway, kind of uses Marner as a screen, zips it past Akira Schmid, and wins the game. And it was like, what just happened? 2 seconds ago, I was like, oh, well, this game is over. There's no way they're not going to score. And now it's, again, very exciting. It started out badly, but the Islanders pulled themselves back in. Sorokin, again, was terrific. Yes. 26 saves. Schmid, wasn't that great. He made 20 saves. The Islanders Vegas outshot them. But the Islanders went 5 for 5 on the PK, and there were about 1,000 broken sticks on the ice. So this was a highly entertaining game. And it was finished with an overtime, shorthanded game-winning goal by JG Pageau, which is your Vanda Pharmaceuticals shot of the week. Get vaccinated today. Too many great goals this week. So I actually put up a poll at the Patreon. So thank you for voting. We had a good sizable portion of voters. They picked Pageau's goal, and it's a great pick. I mean, that is a very rare kind of goal. That just doesn't happen anytime, and especially to this team.
No, that happens. Do you know what season that happens in? That happens in 2018-19. I keep bringing it up because I feel like I saw Valtteri Filppula do something like that, right? But a couple of things just to tick off boxes I got to tick before we jump into this one. I jump into this one. Once again, just want to thank Akira Schmid for the performance that he put up against the Rangers as a member of the Devils a couple of years back in the playoffs when he took over for Vitek Vanacek, I think was the starter in that series for the
Pretty
Devils
sure,
at first. Yeah. So thank you, Akira. We'll never forget those games. You were terrific. And of course it was really, I couldn't help but just smile anytime I saw number 93 on the Vegas Golden Knights just like doing his thing out there. It really brought me back to the summer and now how people are coming to realize like, oh, maybe letting this guy go wasn't the best idea ever, even though we're all trying to figure out the guy who did this to run him out of town. Like, well, we shouldn't run this guy out of town. Oh, well, who did the running out of town? That would be you. So yeah, that was fun. And then like you, once that penalty got called, I essentially had the inner monologue of you can't go to bed mad about this. They got a point. Didn't look like they were going to get one. You're on the road in Vegas. You start the road trip with 2 wins and an overtime loss. You head to Utah. Who knows what happens? You can't be mad about this. Just don't be mad when they score this goal in the power play. And I was like, you know what? Maybe it just makes sense to turn off the TV and just go to bed because you know they're going to score. Why not? Right. And as all this is going through my head, JG Pajot's winning the faceoff, kicking it forward, skating down the rink, and scores. And yeah, I just remember once again alone in my den and just saying out loud like, wow, something's happening. And it really, that kind of goal really only happens to team where something's happening, and I think when you look at like the celebration, I feel like the players all thought the same thing, was like, oh wow, we're in the middle of something now. Like this stuff doesn't happen to teams that aren't in the middle of something. So I mean, just a really wonderful way to spend a late night game. The goaltending has been awesome from Sorokin lately. I mean, I hate it. Who knows what goes on with Sergei Naumov's whatever that guy's doing, whatever elixir he brought up from Bridgeport and across the pond from Russia, whatever he's doing with Ilya is working. He looks exactly like the goalie he was in 21 and then the year after, like just composed, making some brilliant saves look easy, using the blocker, like being really assertive with his blocker.
Coming way out of the net.
Yes.
Out of the net. Yeah.
Pucks that hit him in the breadbasket are sticking to him. He's not like looking behind him. So he's been a joy to watch lately. And that's what he, at his best, he is. That's what he is. He's like a very fun goalie to watch. And this team, it was just quite fun to watch that whole game. I thought that Simon Holmstrom's been amazing. It's funny that Emil Heineman just scores every game. I don't think he's like particularly noticeable except when he's scoring. Like he's a good forechecker. He's certainly got that Leo Komarov quality to him where he's a nuisance. He's in the dirty areas but Simon Holmstrom isn't scoring all that much, but he is noticeable every time he's out there. Yeah. He's awesome. And he's having a great season. Pajot, of course, with the goal, and he's been brilliant. So really a lot to love in this game, and including the 6-on-5, which just, well, I guess we can save the Schaefer talk for Utah, but boy, he's changed everything about this team, but he certainly changed the 6-on-5 a lot too, because it's not win the faceoff. Noah Dobson has a panic attack because he's got a cell phone in his hand and now he's got to catch a puck. Right. It's the guy who gets this puck is a true quarterback in these situations, and I think that takes a ton of pressure off Barzal. It's allowed him to like do some cool stuff on power plays and 6-on-5s. It's allowed Horvat to just kind of settle into that bumper spot where he's made for, because he doesn't have to go retrieving pucks that Noah is kicking around because he's taking a selfie. So it's take a selfie with today's newspaper, Noah, so I know where you are. And then he kicks a puck over into the corner for Bo to get. So like everyone's kind of in their right spot on these power plays. And Jonathan Drouin has been really good too. He's certainly an Islander now. So This game was, it was, I mean, it was like a great night out with friends. Like, it was just a lot of fun to look back on now. So,
Yeah.
and made me really excited. I was really excited. I was like, oh, well, they get to play again tomorrow. That's great.
It was a great night out with friends. And if you're Alex Romanov, everybody's your friend. Because he kept just giving the puck to Vegas, which is
the most generous man on the ice.
Yeah, exactly. So him and Tony DeAngelo were, probably the cloudy parts of that particular game. But otherwise, it was highly entertaining. And like we said before on our last episode, like, give me a reason to stay up and watch this. Like, this was a game that started at 9:00, or 10:00, actually, I think it was. And, it's work the next day. It's a Thursday. I don't want to be groggy at work and then pissed off because you lost. Like, and it wasn't the case at all. I wasn't groggy and I wasn't pissed off. This was a great game. And again, that Pajot's goal was just a cherry on top. And one thing about Sorokin, by the way, so they talked about him on 32 Thoughts, I believe, after this game, actually, if I'm not mistaken, because it would have been Friday. And Elliot Friedman said that, and again, it's free. Not that he's talking out of school, but you take this kind of stuff with a grain of salt. But he said that when they when the Islanders let go of Piero Greco, he heard that Sorokin took that really personally. And like, he liked working with Greco. Obviously, he had a relationship with him, going back, whatever it is, 7 years that Piero's been with the team. We talked glowingly about his work with the Islanders, and Sorokin was a fan of his. And he took that personally, that he was let go, and that it was sort of his fault a little bit that he had kind of let him down. So, I think it's a combination of Sergei Naumov's being his guy from Russia. They're very tight. Obviously, there's a language thing that works for them, but I don't discount that. It wasn't sort of like, oh my God, thank God it's this Piero guy's out of here. I think it was like, maybe that was a wake up call to Ilya that something needed to change, because he's been a completely different goalie since that happened. So, again, you hate to see somebody get fired, and Piero had done great work with the Islanders, but at the same time, having a fully armed and functional Ilya Sorokin is beyond important for the Islanders.
Did he make sure to remind you that he really likes the book The Bald Truth?
No. What?
About Michael Jordan's agent that he brings up every episode in 32 Thoughts?
I do know that he's been in tough negotiations.
Yes.
Young
yes, definitely.
But yeah. But so like you said, fun game, fun ending, his kind of historic ending, and they got to play the next night. But then you're like, oh my God, this is getting to be kind of ridiculous now. And listen, we've seen the Islanders play a lot of back-to-backs. We've seen them, remember when they were under Trotz, they always won the second of back-to-backs. Like, that was their calling card for a while. It was a lot of fun. This game against the Utah Mammoth did not look like it was going to go that way, because that was maybe the worst period of hockey I've seen this team play in a very long time. They were absolutely abysmal. David Rittich was good, and he was the only reason that it was only 1-0 Utah. It was 2-1 Utah, I think, at the end of that period. Everybody else was completely asleep. Again, everybody had noodle arms, no passes were getting through. Everything was kind of dying as soon as it left everybody's stick. It was awful. And you thought this game was going to end 15-1. And the reason they had a 1 was because of Heineman again. Surprise hack out of the air, makes it 1-0 Islanders. I don't know what's going on with this guy, but he loves to score the first goal of the game. Great. JJ Peterka has a goal wiped off the board because Adam Pelech kind of saved it from going in the net. But then Peterka scored again a minute later, so it didn't really matter. And then they had a 5-on-3 power play because Schaefer and Holmstrom were both in the box. Dylan Gunther scores, makes it 2-1. And again, thanks to David Rittich, who was great throughout the entire game, they were lucky to be down only 2-1. They played much better in the second. I don't know if they got a talking to by somebody, probably Anders Lee. But there were no goals, but still, it was a much more even game. We had the first Schaefer injury scare. He ended up getting hit in the knee by somebody going down the tunnel, but he came back. The Islanders had actually a good penalty kill in that game too. Third period, the Islanders start getting momentum. Barzal takes a tour around the ice, finds Drouin, who kicks the puck in. He kicked it, but Nate Schmidt tried to stop the puck from going in. The puck bounced off his hand and went in the net. And thank you, Nate Schmidt, because if you hadn't done that, that goal wouldn't have counted. So we all learned something. We all learned a very valuable lesson in this game, which is don't try and hit the puck after somebody kicks it, because if it goes in off of you, then it's a goal. So the Islanders are tied the game. The Utah fans aren't happy. Those that can see the game anyway aren't happy. because Delta Center, obviously Barclays Center West West, had a lot of obstructive views, and now we can make fun of somebody else for doing that. Anyway, somehow Tony DeAngelo gets a 10-minute misconduct.
Yes.
In the wake of the, we still have no idea what happened, but he gets thrown out. Everybody's like, oh, thank God. We have a break from Tony for a little while here. But the Islanders still have momentum at this point. Palmieri, Horvat get chances at the end. They go to overtime. And again, Barzal, you've seen this goal now 100 times by now. Barzal starts taking the tour again. He finds Schaefer, back to Barzal. Barzal finds Schaefer on the other side, who's cocked and loaded, and one-times the puck in there again. One-timers, who knew? 3-2 Islanders final. Schaefer is absolutely ecstatic. He's doing this like sort of Birdman arms out celebration, skating towards his friends who were all there to hug him and congratulate him and everything. He's the youngest overtime winner, youngest player to score an overtime game winner in NHL history. This game was absolute thievery. David Riddick was, again, enormous, especially in the first period. Kyle Vejmelka was good when they needed him to, but wasn't there for that one-timer, obviously. And they ended up getting outshot again. But again, the PK went 5 for 6. The only goal they gave up was on the 5-on-3, which, hey, what are you going to do? And again, they took a game from the brink of disaster, pulled it back, and walked out with an overtime win. And at this point, I'm with you. Like, something on this road trip is happening. And they had won the first 4 games of a 7-game road trip. 2 of them one was in Manhattan, one was in New Jersey, but still, like, it's a 7-game road trip. You've won 4 of these games. You've guaranteed yourself a winning record. That's unbelievable. Like, that's beyond any, we thought if they get 3 points out of these 3 games, that's great. They end up getting 6. And that was crazy. And it was a fun game. Again, that Schaefer celebration will not be forgotten anytime soon. Just a magnificent play by all 3 of those guys.
Yeah, nor will his post game with Cal Clutterbuck.
Yeah. You like
Clutter,
that, buddy,
you like
right?
that one, buddy? And you know what's so special about Schaefer is that he's, as we keep saying, like the stuff that he does, the extracurriculars, the media, the interview on the bench, it's all organic. There's nothing cringy about it at all, and there's obviously nothing just rehearsed about it. And
no, very authentic.
Yes, it's very authentic. He always is wearing that shit-eating grin, and to be able to disarm Cal Clutterbuck with charm as a 37-year-old NHL veteran with 1,600 games under your belt is impressive, because Cal Clutterbuck is just a very tough customer when it comes to, like he's a charismatic fellow himself, and you need to fight fire with fire when it comes to Cal. He's obviously very quick and had a reputation as someone with quite a mouth on him when he was on the ice. And for this guy, 13 or whatever, 15 games into his NHL career, to stare down the barrel with Cal while he's in his mustache and plaid jacket looking straight out of 1977 Saskatchewan, like he looks at this guy and knows, like, oh, I'm gonna make this guy blush, and then does it to the point where Cal's like, I do, bud. Like, it's just, that to me was a really quite something, because if you've been watching this team for a long time, that guy just, Clutterbuck, meaning Clutterbuck, just doesn't lose those battles of charm all that often. And he's like, I'm not even in the same universe as this kid, not even talking hockey talent, but when it comes to charisma and just his happy-go-lucky attitude. So and he, as like, it's just unbelievable. You that stuff, when watching, if Matthew Schaefer was a Vancouver Canuck and you saw that the next day and you're like, oh wow, that guy scored again, like this is gonna be terrible. Like, he's just this, we're gonna hear about this kid all the time. But to be the one of the 32 teams that has him, and you're like, oh my God, I just need more of this, and I can't believe it keeps happening. It's really still taking a lot of getting used to. And this game and this road trip is kind of, I've figured out the word that I've been kind of looking for this whole time to describe what he brings on the ice, which is he brings danger. Like when Matthew Schaefer is on the ice, the Islanders are just dangerous. They're downright dangerous. And it's because there's no player like him in the league. People comparing him to Makar and all these other places. But I just think that when you think about where he's at in his career, he doesn't have like the baggage or the coaching in him yet to like be like, hey, think twice before you try to just go dipsy doodle on Devon Taves against the Avalanche in a 1-1 game in the second period, right? He just doesn't have that in him yet, and hopefully he never does because, it's been so much fun to watch. So like, there's really nobody like him, and every time he steps on the ice, the Islanders just look dangerous. And when you compare him to the last guy that the Islanders drafted first overall, if you recall, they took him instead of Victor Hedman, which probably will go down as a mistake. That first overall pick, when he stepped on the ice, it was just more about being relentless and working hard. And as Justin Bourne and we were talking about at the top, like he'll give you everything he's got every shift. But there was no like dynamism to his game, at least not yet. Like, it took some time for it to get there. And you saw that player and you're like, this guy's gonna be good. Schaefer steps on the ice now as this number 1 overall pick with and he's already there, and you're like, this is just the beginning of his career, and he's doing this stuff, and he's saying this stuff to Cal Clutterbuck and to Shannon Hogan. So it's just still the beginning of the ride. And I think because of who we are as Islander fans, we're appreciating it, but it's our default setting is to be thinking like, oh man, I hope that he stays after this year, even though this is this is game 17 or 18 or whatever it's been. So it's still taking so much to get used to, but yet I mean, he's Matthew Danger Schaefer, man. This guy just is absolutely buzzing. And I think that now the team knows it too. Like they just are like, we're just gonna let this kid do his thing, and we'll just be along for the ride. And that probably took some getting used to for players like Matt Barzal and Bo Horvat. But now they've adjusted to it to the point where when the 6-on-5 is going on, when you read off the names, you're like, holy shit, how is anyone going to stop the Islanders? It's Matthew Schaefer with Matt Barzal and Bo Horvat and Jonathan Drouin, and Andrews Lee's causing a ruckus in front of the net. And then you got like Kyle Palmieri or someone just like floating around as the shark. It's, how's anyone going to stop that? And it's such a different perspective on hockey and life than we've had ever. Like, when have you ever felt that way about the Islanders? Because it's like, well, what is Barry Trotz going to patch together for this 6-on-5? Or what's, oh, look at that, Jack Capuano's going with Ryan Strome in this spot. Or Steve Sterling loves that Aaron Asham slap shot, so he's going to be the extra attacker here on 6-on-5. Now it's this, and it's
Well, I mean, the answer is Barzal. But again, Barzal had 80 points as a rookie on a team that refused to play defense. Right. So as exciting as he was, and as entertaining as he was, winning was not guaranteed. By any stretch of the imagination.
He didn't envelope the whole game. Like Schaefer is like his presence is on the entire game.
Yes,
it's crazy.
Right. And with Barzal, the whole thing, and I don't want to do this Schaefer guy we drafted before Victor Hedman comparisons yet. I want to wait for that to happen before they play the Leafs, which is actually in January, unfortunately. But I have some thoughts on that. We'll get there. But the other thing too was like Barzal, as good as he was still very young. I mean, he's a center, which like defenseman is a tricky position to learn how to play. The idea was like, this guy's really good. He wins the Calder. Him and Tavares are going to be dynamite, 1-2 punch, down the middle. And then of course that just never materializes because they were only together on this one team for 1 year. So Schaefer has transformed this team by himself. And as far as like, obviously I'm not in the locker room, but like, I have to think that these guys have embraced this kid like their little brother. Like, that's probably the only way I can really put it. It's like, and so I think this is another thing that came up on 32 Thoughts. I think, no, sorry. This came up on Arthur Staples' new podcast, I believe, to the Tri-State Hockey Podcast with Johnny Lazarus and Mike Rupp. You should listen to it. It's really good. He talked about how like tight that room was. Oh no, it was Mike Rupp actually. Now it's coming to me. Mike Rupp talked about how he heard from somebody he played with that room was so tight. These guys have embraced this guy. they want to win for this guy. And I think they understand with this guy, we can reach a new stratosphere. And I think that's a very important thing to remember. And they, they're ready for stuff like this. Barzal clearly loves playing with Schaefer. Like, there's no question about it.
And that's what, like, the 2018-19 thing I don't keep bringing up is that team. It's not a direct comparison I'm making, but like that figure that came and kind of just changed the way everyone looked was the coach and the GM, right?
Yes.
Like this time it's an 18. The last time it was a 65-year-old coach and an 80-year-old GM, and this time it's an 18-year-old defenseman, and it's just completely kind of reconfigured you as a fan, and we not to pat ourselves or anyone who had this thought on the back, but one thing that when the Islanders re-signed Kyle Palmieri in the offseason, when Lou Lamoriello via Matthew Darsh signed Kyle Palmieri to it.
Matthew Darsh opened the drawer and found
he's like, oh, Kyle Palmieri's on this team, I guess. We said, like, it's kind of important for the Islanders to have some guys like Palmieri and Lee and Pajot, Horvat still in the locker room to teach whoever's this new crop. Obviously back then we didn't know it was going to be Schaefer. We were talking the Cal Ritchies and the Cole Isermans and Danny Nelsons of the world. Like what being an Islanders is all about now, like the identity, the kind of the tight knit group that they've fostered and passing the torch. And I think it's crucially important that Schaefer, and a huge part of why he's been so successful, is he's walked into a team like this rather than what like Connor Bedard had walked into in Chicago, when it was like, hey, yeah, we're going to fill out the rest of the team. Just wait till September and you'll see, we're going to put like David Desharnais at your left wing at some point. So
here's Nick Foligno looking like the Black Knight from Monty Python with his limbs removed. I'll bite your knees. Like totally different. Who was in goal for them at the front? It was Peter Mraz.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Like, and so, and this guy walks into this room, and it's this group of really good friends and dads and kids and ankle biters and Matt Barzal, and they're just like a perfect fit in a way. And I think he's probably he's walked into a better situation than any number one overall draft pick I can remember, because he's walking into a place where these guys are like, yeah, we'll trust you to do your thing. You trust us to do our thing. And we're going to make sure like nobody touches you. And we're not just even talking about the guys who are wearing the jerseys, but see the guy with the headset in between the benches. Like he might even want to do it. The guy you live with, Matt Martin, like he might want, like I think it's such an unbelievable environment that he's come into. And I'm really grateful for it, because he's learned what it is to be an Islander from the most Islander guys since the dynasty, right? Like Josh Bailey, he's probably had plenty of conversations with Josh Bailey about Nassau Coliseum and stuff like that, and he's probably like, what's Nassau Coliseum? Like I've never heard of it, and so I think it's amazing. It's wonderful, like that this guy's on the team. And I just woke up the next morning after the Utah game, and was just like, I told Isla, I was like, Isla, Matthew Schaefer scored the overtime game-winning goal, and she just said, yeah, Matthew Schaefer, I know. And I was like, this guy is going to be scoring those kind of goals, and I'm literally saying these words to her. She has no idea what I'm talking about. I'm like, he's going to be scoring these kind of goals for like your entire life, basically. Like you're gonna, you got 18, maybe, hopefully, knock on wood, 18 years with this guy. Like that's amazing. Like he's gonna be your guy. And she's like, yeah, he's my favorite. I'm like, yeah, mine too. And
I was gonna say me too. I told my wife, and like Christmas, just Matthew Schaefer jersey. That's it. That's all I want. In white, because I have too many blue Islanders jerseys. But
I almost got jealous of her. I'm like, wow, you're gonna be like 6, and this guy's gonna be in his prime, and I'm gonna be just tired.
She won't know an Islanders squad without Matthew Schaefer. Like that's kind of crazy to think about,
Yes,
I mean, what's also crazy, and I promised I wouldn't do this, but we'll get there. But like Matthew Schaefer, born September 2007, John Tavares drafted by the Islanders in June of 2009. So it's like it's also very strange. Well, again, I don't want to get too far down that road, but yeah, no, he's changed everything and for the better, and making the Islanders fun, making them fun to watch, getting people's attention around the league is like, holy shit, this guy's really good. A certain athletic writer posted a thing on Twitter saying that with Schaefer on the ice, Nathan McKinnon had an expected goals for of like 0.12 or something in that game. So he's getting a lot of people's attention for all the right reasons. But all good things must come to an end, and that winning streak, as much fun as it was, 4 games in a row, ended in Denver, a 4-1 loss to the Colorado Avalanche. Score is a little bit misleading because, frankly, the Islanders played really well in this game, and if it wasn't for maybe 3 collective minutes of, disaster, this would have maybe even gone to overtime again. So, first of all, Max Shabbat Shalom, he's back, and I thought he looked pretty good in that game.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
and I didn't realize he was coming back. I was like, wait, when did that happen?
Yeah, they put him in. He didn't score, but he definitely had a lot of jump. That man Siplikov and Adam Boquist were both out. Frankly, I'm kind of done with the Boquist experience as well. Not quite as soured on that as I have with the D'Angelo experience, but I think I've seen enough. The Islanders, actually, this was an inverse of the last 2 games because the Islanders got off to a great start in this game. Another redirected puck with the skate, but this time Emil Heineman, again, Mr. First Goal, Emil Heineman didn't kick it this time. He redirected a D'Angelo shot, went off his skate, and went in 1-0 Islanders. They had good pressure from all lines, and this looked like, holy crap, are these guys actually just going to roll into Denver and beat the hell out of the Avalanche, who are 12-1-5 at this point? I don't think they had lost at home yet. Alas, that's not how it worked out because the Avs scored 2 goals in 1 minute and 16 seconds in the second period. Ross Colton on the rush, and then a Victor Olofsson tip. So all of a sudden, bang, bang, it's 2-1 Colorado. Isles kind of running around a little bit. Arturi Lehkonen gets stopped on a breakaway. Great save by Sorokin. The game settles into a bit of a rhythm. Schaefer draws a penalty late, but they don't score, and crossing over into the third period. The Islanders played better in the third. They had a lot of chances. Mayfield again, Barzell off the glass. They had a lot of opportunities to score in this game, but they kept missing the net. So the puck was going off the glass a lot, even in the first period. I think Barzell, he had a wide open net at the side, missed it. It was really unfortunate. It was the second period, I think. They get a late gift in a puck over the glass penalty to Colorado late. They had a bunch of good chances. Palmieri, Horvat had a good shot with the net empty where it was 6-on-4. They could not score. Marty Necas scores an empty net goal. You think, all right, well, what are you going to do? It's 3-1. But then Brock Nelson, who we didn't talk about last week, we completely forgot about him, unfortunately, tips the puck past Sorokin with 15 seconds left to just add one final kick in the nuts. Sorokin was very good in this game. He made 25 saves, and he was particularly great in the third. He had a great flurry of saves. He was like scrambling all over the place. Scott Wedgwood, though, was just a little bit better. He was really excellent. The Islanders went 3 for 3 on the PK, which again is really good, but they did go 0 for 4 on the power play. It was a very good performance against a great team with a very deflating ending, which was basically the way to put it. But like we said off the top, it's hard to be too mad when you're coming off 4 wins in a row. Actually, all 4 of them very exciting. One of them was a blowout, but obviously, if you're going to blow anybody out, it's got to be the Rangers. So it's hard to be too mad. But honestly, for the best part of this game was probably that for 55 plus minutes, this team really did give the Avalanche all they can handle and made it look like they had me believing that they were going to tie this thing, take it to overtime. And at that point, I would be like, all right, well, look, if they win, that's amazing. But if they don't, I think you can't be too mad about it. But turns out I wasn't all that mad about the loss either. I mean, don't make a habit out of it. I got no moral victories out there. But if you're going to have a moral victory, seems like this is the one to take, right?
Yeah, exactly. As I said, like I almost felt relieved that they lost. It was like a little it was getting a little too good, and that made me uncomfortable. And I was like, good, yeah, bring these guys back down to earth. They've got a couple games left on the road trip. As we said off the top, getting 4 wins from a 7-game road trip is makes it a success already. But
right
now that you've got those 4 wins in the pocket, you definitely want to make hay, and hopefully they can do a job at Dallas and Detroit and get some more points out of that. And we look back on the Colorado game and say, like, they took another step in the right direction, even though they lost. That's going to happen to normal good teams in the NHL. It happened to the Islanders quite a bit when they were in their salad days and going to Eastern Conference Finals and such. So feeling that again was really a welcome thing. Like it felt comfortable. It felt like a nice pair of sweatpants to put back on after the loss, because it as we said, like it's been a while since a loss hasn't felt like a doom. like that. Well, that's the season. They looked terrible. They made 100 mistakes and they lost, and now the season's over again. But this time it wasn't. It felt good. I honestly, like, I almost want to keep the Nelson stuff till he returns to the island. I feel like when you play on the road, it's like a little different. It's weird. It was weird, but it's not going to be as weird until he gets the video tribute and all that, and we can definitely dive into that. I didn't know. I turned the game off after the empty netter, so I didn't know he scored until the next morning.
I looked away and I heard it, and I was like, "Oh, second empty netter, that sucks." And then I went back to my screen. I was like, "What, Brock?
Yeah.
What? Come on!"
So funny.
What are you doing?
I hope it gets him going. He had, I think he only had 3 or 4 goals to start the season, so hopefully he gets going now. And we beat him in the Stanley Cup or something. And Lee, it goes the cup gets passed from Lee to Cizikas to Nelson, even though he's on the Avalanche. But yeah, I mean, this game, I had very little to complain about. The fourth line is the one, we talked enough about Romanov and D'Angelo. Tony's had some like decent showings throughout the season. Romanov's maybe had like 1 or 2, but it's pretty clear that they need to sort whatever's going on the D out with those 2 guys, because it's just not going to work. But the fourth line to me was one of the creepiest lines I've ever seen, with Cal Ritchie centering Cizikas and Shabanov. And to me, that's just, you're really trying to send a message to everyone like, yep, no, doesn't matter if Cizikas has to play with Adam Pelech on the first pair D. He's not coming out of the lineup if you're putting him on that line, because it would make a lot more sense to me if you got Shabanov and Siplikov, who of course know each other from their home country and KHL days. Play them with the youngster, or play them with Cizikas in between or something. But Casey was the only. He didn't even play much, but he was like the only Islander that I like was like, ooh, not his best night. I mean, Cal Ritchie too, but I think that was more of just the product of the line he was playing on. Whereas like Shabanov, as you said, he acquitted himself quite well in those circumstances, and I hope that that's not lost on the coaching staff, that he was noticeable despite playing with some square pegs and round holes. And I know it's illegal and punishable by death these days to bring up plus minus as a stat. But if you look at the Islanders plus minus, and you go to the leaders, it makes a lot of sense. You got Bo Horvat at the top. There's Pelech and Barzal and Drouin and Heineman. And then you go to the bottom, and it's Cizikas is -8, -8. And Romanov's right there with him, and Siplikov's -7. So it's pretty clear, like, to all of us, but it's just going to take some time. Cizikas also had a very funny moment. I think it was against Utah. Was it against Utah, where he was like all alone in front of the net? Someone sent him up, and he flipped the puck from right in front of the net into the stands.
I thought he was actually pretty good in that Utah game. I mean, it's a low bar.
Yeah.
But I thought he was okay. But yeah, you're right. That Frankenstein.
Was that Utah game? Was it Utah? Whatever that. I was like, oh God. But it's just.
Oh no, it wasn't the Utah game. It was the Colorado game. But but he did have an open shot against Utah.
Yeah, Utah. But yeah, he just, it is what it is with him. We're rooting for him to find his game. I think it's also got to be tough because his ice time has been taken away.
Yeah.
Since he's been taken off the PK, which the PK has been a lot better. So
yes,
maybe you can draw a straight line there too. Anyways, but like when that is your problem, right? You're like, well, they got to sort out this one defenseman or this one D pair, and our fourth line center. Those are not big problems to have. It's not, man, the Islanders are scoring 2 goals a night, and if the other team scores 3, like, they're screwed, which has been in years past. These problems are very fixable. They can resolve themselves on their own by these players just finding form, or by roster moves or lineup decisions. So getting to the halfway point of this road trip and getting to the quarter mark of the season, with those being the only kind of spooky things out there, with the Islanders, is not a position I thought they were going to be in come Thanksgiving. So you said we'd find something to complain about. I've got very little to complain about, but that's really it. But yeah, I mean, I think you can make an argument that the Avalanche game was maybe their most complete of the season. Like they were top to bottom really good in that game against the team that is the Stanley Cup favorite. So that they should be really encouraged, and whether they can carry that form into Dallas remains to be seen. But and the one thing I will say, the one other worry I do have is Bo Horvat was scorching hot. And he's still playing really well, but I feel like he's about to go into like a snake bit. He's like snake bit now because he keeps getting like stoned on these ridiculous saves like he was when he first came over.
But he's still getting the chances though.
Yeah.
So as long as that happens.
Yeah, he always gets the chances. He's either really snake bit or he's not.
Right.
And remember when he first came to the Islanders, we were joking about how he got Islander-ified really quickly because he'd like hit posts, or it would be a goal taken reviewed or something. He would be playing really well, just wasn't scoring.
Yeah. If he does find himself snake bit, then it would be funny if Anthony Duclair started scoring goals left and right, and they kind of like balance each other out, because he's a guy. I don't know if it's a complaint, but they need a little bit more from him, I think. But again, there's some guys in the bottom half of the roster that at forward, I should say, that just they're kind of square pegs and round holes, as you said before. And so they need to sort that out. I think they need to come up with a philosophy for like, what do they want the third and fourth lines to be? Because if they want a crash bang fourth line, I got news for you. I'm not trying to stereotype here, but putting the two Russian guys there, probably not the right way to go about that. You know what I'm saying? Those guys are good. I still think Siplikov has talent here, but I don't think it's on a crash and bang fourth line or a Cizikas like mucking, grinding first line. If that's what they want, they got the wrong personnel there. If they want a high scoring first line and one that, is an offensive producer, then unfortunately Casey is going to be the odd man out, This doesn't say much about Cal Ritchie, who I think has come a long way. I think he's playing better. I was kind of hoping the reverse, player against his team would work and he would get that first goal as an Islander against the Avalanche. Didn't really work that way, but I thought he played a pretty good game. So again, I think our complaints about Romanov and DeAngelo are legitimate, but they have changed the pairings. They had Pelech with DeAngelo against Colorado. I thought he was okay there for the most part, but unfortunately that leaves Mayfield and Romanov, which doesn't work all that much, so they got to figure things out there. But like you said, it's not like every shot on goal is going in.
Yeah, it's not like, they need to trade for Bo Horvat to fit to this team. Right? it's very different. Their problem is they've got too many like good middle six, top six forwards, and not enough spaces. And their other problem is they've got too many psychos on defense. Like Romanov is a psycho, Tony's a psycho, Mayfield's a psycho. Schaefer in his own way, he's a different kind of psycho. He's like
good psycho.
Yeah, exactly. So
Boquist is psycho.
Boquist is a psycho. Pelech and Pulock are just, Pulock is new money, really, really rich, normal guy, and Pelech is just like as milquetoast defenseman you can get in the NHL. Yeah. He's as far away from being a psycho as you can get.
Pulock is a low-key psycho.
Yeah. He's from Manitoba, right? So it's or Saskatchewan, wherever he's from. But I think that I mean, they just need to figure out the right combination of psycho and non-psycho to play on D. Because you just can't, like, can you imagine like a practice drill where you just put a puck between Mayfield and Romanov and DeAngelo and just like go fight until this, someone comes away with this puck. Those guys would all do different ways or try different ways to kill one another. And you just don't want that on the same pair all the time. So they just got to figure out a way to get the psychos to play with non-psychos.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. I think the psychos to play with the non-psychos, but they're like you said,
they're all coached by a psycho too,
they're all coached. Yeah, definitely. And their schedule is psycho as well. Yes. But that I think that again, the pieces are there. They just need to decide what they want to do with it.
And Romanov always starts very slow and psychotic, and then he gets better as the season goes on. You're like, oh man, he's a completely different psycho than he was when he was a complete psychopath in November. Because he was pretty good down the for the meat of last season. Yeah, he obviously earned that contract. It was so hopefully he's just following that same pattern again.
Right, and before anybody thinks that we're picking on him, we will end this first half by saying the best moment of Alex Romanov's week was when he took out two guys in the Avalanche with one hit. He laid one hip check and took out 2 dudes,
Yeah.
which is great stuff. More of that. He got that sort of 7-10 split action. So great job on him. And congratulations to Scott Mayfield and his wife for welcoming their first child. So that's obviously takes much more precedence over, playing on a line with pairing with Tony D'Angelo or whatever this week. So, there's a lot of good, some things that need to be tightened up, but overall, the Islanders are right in the middle of it still. There's a lot going on in the Eastern Conference tonight, so hopefully they're still there when you listen to this. But we wanted them to stay in it when they were on this road trip. They have done that with aplomb, and they still have a chance at 2 more wins coming up, plus 2 more home games. So we're going to talk about all of that, plus a ton more on the other side. So meet us over there. Thanks. And now a word from our sponsors. VintageIceHockey.com. Over 100 classic hockey logos on t-shirts, jerseys, hats, mugs, and more. Long Island Ducks, Albany Riverettes, Danbury Trashers, Kentucky Thoroughblades, and so many more. Plus a full line of Islanders Anxiety merch with our portion of the sales going directly to the Center for Dementia Research. These incredible items cannot be found in stores, so shop VintageIceHockey.com today. Relax, sit back, and enjoy wine from The Pinot Project. Rosé, Pinot Grigio, or a Pinot Noir that was named a Best Buy by Wine Enthusiast magazine. These wines are delicious, affordable, and available at area wine shops and at UBS Arena. Learn more at thepinotproject.com. And please, drink responsibly.
This is Jason Momoa, and I'll be your finance professor today. Welcome to Banking Smarter 101 with Chime. Bam! First lesson, sign up for Chime and set up direct deposit. You'll be joining millions of members banking fee-free. Second lesson, get cash back on eligible purchases while building credit and a higher APY on your savings. That's how you bank smarter this season. Fa-la-la-la-la, class dismissed. Join Chime today.
Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services and a secure Chime Visa credit card provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Members FDIC. Optional services and products may have fees or charges. Details at chime.com/fees-info. With a qualifying direct deposit, earn 1.5% cash back on eligible secure Chime Visa credit card purchases. On-time payment history may have a positive impact on your credit score. Results may vary. APY means annual percentage yield. Learn about credit building and more at chime.com.
Oh, Hilton stay, oh, Hilton stay. Your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton stay, oh, Hilton stay.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. Enjoy comfortable rooms and friendly service when you stay with Hilton instead. Save up to 25% this season when you book with Hilton. Hilton for the stay. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Nature's Bounty. Nature's Bounty believes your body is brilliant, naturally designed to thrive, inside and out. For those always looking for new ways to support your health from head to heels, Nature's Bounty has a range of over 400 vitamins and supplements born from 50 years of trust and care. Nature's Bounty. It's in your nature. Visit naturesbounty.com to learn more.
When cool, creamy ranch meets tangy, bold buffalo, the whole is greater than the sum of its sauce. Say howdy, partner, to new Buffalo Ranch sauce. Only at McDonald's for a limited time.
At participating McDonald's.
This episode is brought to you by Blink. Why wait for Black Friday? Blink Friday starts now with up to 65% off Blink Smart Security. Check on your pets all season long with new Blink Mini 2K Plus cameras. See your gifts arrive in head-to-toe view with Blink Video Doorbell. From pet parents to jet setters to busy families, Blink Friday deals have your holidays covered. Shop now at amazon.com/blink.
Before we get to the Islanders' schedule, a couple of things to let you know. We want to extend our condolences to the friends and family of Larry Brooks, who passed away last week at the age of 75 after a short battle with cancer. We wanted to give Larry his due. We, as area hockey fans, we both grew up reading his work, and he was must-read material for any hockey fan from the area, whether he drove you crazy, whether you loved it, you had to read Larry Brooks. And so we wanted to spend a lot of time talking about him and other sports writers that have had that effect on us, that were influential on us. So we dedicated this week's Country Club Atmosphere to the memory of Larry Brooks, and again, talked about some other sports writers that have been influenced on us. And that's going to come out on the Patreon on Wednesday, so the day after you're listening to this. So if you want to check that out, please do. And again, condolences to Larry and his family and friends, who were many in the industry and outside of the industry as well. The other thing is we are going to be back to our regular schedule next week. So we're going to record after the game against Seattle on Sunday, which is a 5:00 game, and we'll come out on Monday. And then the week after too. So we got to, back to our normal schedule after that. One final thing too, we put out an episode of Weird Islanders, the podcast, last week with our friend Sab, talking about the late great Joseph Vasicek. And again, spoiler alert, are all fans. We had a great time talking about him and paying tribute to him as well. Of course, he was lost in the locomotive air disaster. Please check that out if you can. And we also had a Weird Islanders extra episode with Sab, a little bit of extra conversation, one of which was about, hey, how about the Islanders and Devils hosting sort of back-to-back Sister Lou Lamoriello nights, which has been kind of funny because we're going to talk a little bit about Lou after we get through the next schedule. So great stuff happening over at the Patreon, and even more stuff next week that I'll tell you about in the next episode. Okay, looking ahead to the rest of the Islanders schedule before our next episode. They have the road trip the forever road trip continues. The Islanders are in Dallas tonight, 8 p.m. start against the Stars. We're going to talk about them and their injuries problems in a minute. Then Thursday, they are in Detroit to play the Red Wings. That's a 7:00 start. And then they are home for a back-to-back over the weekend, both matinee games, a 3:30 start on Saturday against the Blues. That is very strange. I can't remember the last time the Islanders had a 3:30 game on a weekend. And then aforementioned 5:00 start against Seattle on Sunday. This isn't quite as daunting as the Devils, Golden Knights, Mammoth, Avalanche, but it's not going to be an easy one either. The Stars are just as much of a Stanley Cup contender as the Avalanche are, although they have been hit by the injury bug. Just today, putting Matt Duchene on long-term injured reserve. Thomas Harley is out for a while. Jamie Benn is still out for a while. Other guys like Adam Ernie are out. So they've been hit by the injury bug. They're still really good, and they still have Jake Ottinger, who is also very good. So that game is not going to be a pushover. The Red Wings have been pretty good this season so far. Again, the Islanders' record in Detroit is basically never good. Then they are home. That first home game after a long road trip is always a disaster, as are most matinee games. And then they follow up with another matinee game. So this week, while the teams aren't quite as scary, could be just as daunting. But as we've been talking about, the Islanders have earned some trust here. And they went out and they won 4 straight games on the road. Like that's not a joke. Those guys they've been really good. So they need to keep it up. They need to have more performances like that game against the Avalanche, or the game within 5 minutes of at least getting it to overtime. And they can take some more points here. Of these games, what do you think is the scariest? Is it the Stars are obviously the best team, but again, they're never good in Detroit. The Islanders are, and then that first home game, man, against after a road trip is never easy. And maybe one of these days I'll like matinee games again. I didn't always hate matinee games, but now I do. So if you had to pick one game which is kind of the scariest of the bunch, what would you say it is?
Yeah, I guess it's that Stars game, just because they did just lose, so you don't want to be staring down the Red Wings. The cliche is the last game of a long road trip is really tough, and then the other cliche is the first game home after a long road trip is really tough, especially in matinee. So you don't want there to be too much pressure building up. So I guess that Stars game is and I'm also looking forward to it a lot. So I think that's part of why it's a little spooky. Is like I don't want to be like let down and be like, oh man, maybe got to alter expectations. But as you said, right, like they just got through perhaps the toughest stretch of schedule on paper that I shouldn't say that yet. After they play Dallas, that would probably be if you looked at the schedule before the season and said pick the toughest stretch, it would probably be that stretch right there, because their other long road trip is through like the Prairie and then through Western Canada, but the games are spaced. They're not. We're not looking at a back-to-back and then a 3-4 and then a 4-6 and then a 6-9, right? Those games are spaced out pretty well. So if we were going to be as scared as we were going into the games against Vegas and Jersey and Utah, we should give them a little credit and say like they can come out of here, and if they have a chance to really assert themselves with November, with what they've done in November. If they can find a win in Dallas and maybe if they can find like 2 or 3 more points on this road trip and then take care of business at home, because the schedule does kind of soften up for them. They could be the team that everyone's like, oh man, yeah, the Islanders might actually be good. This is something. So I mean, it's the Stars game. We didn't score against the Stars last year in Dallas. That was right. The game when we knew the season was cursed. It was game 2.
The 1-0 game.
it was game 2. Well, no, that was the Blues beat us 1-0 very, very soon after that too. Remember Joel Hofer?
Right.
Yeah. The Islanders lost in overtime. Sorokin and Hofer both had shutouts going into overtime, and the Islanders lost. But the Stars, I think we lost 3-0. And after the game, the team was like, we're not worried about it. We played really well. And we were like, yeah, but you just lost to Utah by crapping your pants in the way you crapped your pants the entire season before that. Right. So that was not a moral victory like the Avalanche game that we were going to allow them to get away with. So but look, after what they've just done, nothing seems too scary right now. So I'm just it's fun. It's fun to be buoyant going into the holiday season. So it's nice.
Definitely. And like I said, they've earned some trust, you know, and that's me saying that too, which you guys know is never easy.
And I'm a little sad. that the Stars game is at 8 and not like 10, because it has been fun to stay up late with these games. Weird stuff happens in these late night games. Like as you said, the Tony DeAngelo I loved how Brendan was like, and amidst all of this, Tony DeAngelo was handed a 10-minute misconduct and kicked out of the game.
Nobody saw it. Yeah.
Nobody saw it. It happened at 11:30 p.m. Eastern time, so no one was going to check up on it. Everyone's tired, and it's and I never would fault. And I mean, there was times in both the Utah and Vegas and Colorado game I was like, I just want to pull the plug and go to sleep. But when you would explain to your friends or family or whoever about what happened in the Islander games the night before, you're like, well, it was crazy because this happened, that happened. You go down the list and you're like, oh, and Tony DeAngelo got kicked out and nobody knows why. But yeah, an 8 o'clock start's not that late, so right. I feel like it's not going to be as weird.
Yeah. The flip side of that is the Saturday game being at 3:30 means that if you are a wrestling fan and a fan of All Elite Wrestling, you can comfortably watch the Islanders game and then watch Full Gear, which is actually that night in Newark, New Jersey. So you don't have to like worry about, am I going to watch the Islanders game? Am I going to watch the wrestling? You can watch both because they're perfectly set up there. I don't know if they meant to do that, but I appreciate it. So this is a tough one. I mean, and again, you look at the schedule and you're like, man, the Blues have struggled this year. Seattle, like they started out hot and then they kind of fell apart a little bit. So, I mean, that could be, where you could pick up some points, but there's, no guarantee, especially with matinee games. And then looking ahead to the schedule, we're talking about next week. It doesn't really get any easier, even though they're home. It's Bruins, Flyers, Caps, Lightning, and the Avalanche again. So, they need to, the season's not over. There's no easy stretch here. But, they just need to keep it up and keep playing the way they've been playing. And Sorokin obviously playing out of his mind would also be very, very helpful. So let's keep that going and hopefully Matthew Schaefer and Matthew Barzal and Bo Horvat keep doing their thing as well. Okay. One thing we want to talk about here is an article that came out at The Athletic today by our friend Pierre LeBrun.
It was a rumbling. Was it a rumbling or is it just a straight? Was he just it was a straight shoot? Oh, he wasn't even rumbling.
Yeah, this is a focused spotlight Pierre LeBrun piece, not a rumbling. Although I'm sure they went out to eat and your stomach was rumbling later on. But the article kind of surprising and just kind of came out of nowhere, and it's called "Lou Lamoriello on exit as Islanders GM, transitioning to new role." Quote: "It's all positive." And, listen, we give Pierre LeBrun and all of his colleagues a lot of grief on this show a lot of the times, but this is actually the rare article from The Athletic in which we learned something. And what we learned is that Lou Lamoriello still works for the Islanders. And this is why it's kind of funny so in our episode with Sab, the Weird Islanders Extra episode we talked about, he broached the idea of like, wouldn't it be cool next season if the Islanders and Devils had a back-to-back, home and home thing, and each team hosted a Lou Lamoriello night, to celebrate Lou and all he did for both franchises. And we're like, yeah, that's a great idea. And one of the things Sab said was, because I don't think he's latched on with another team yet. And we were like, no, he hasn't. No, nothing's come out yet. Well, it turns out he had latched on to another team, and that team was the Islanders. He never left. He is advising Scott Malkin. He has been to Board of Governors meetings. There's another one coming up in Colorado, which one was in New York City. There's another one coming up in Colorado Springs next month. And so he's going to these meetings, I guess, as a governor. I guess, what's his official job? Maybe just team governor or whatever. He's not part of the hockey operations. He is not advising Matthew Darsh, although, if he wants advice and wants to talk it over, he will. They had some dinners. He likes Matthew. He likes what he's doing, but he is staying away from hockey decisions in the hockey department. And, I got to give LeBrun credit that, from the way this article is written, Lou sounds like he was happy. He's happy now. Like, this is a guy who's run teams for so long, since 1987, right? Isn't that when he got the Devils job? Like, I don't think he realized how much he was doing until he stepped away and didn't have to do it.
Right.
And seems very happy. I mean, dude's 80 years old or whatever. And, seems like he's in a place where he's happy. He's been able to walk away. He works for Scott Malkin, who obviously brought him here. We'll get to some of the other details in a little bit, but I actually found this article rather, I don't know, encouraging, or I don't know what's the word, like heartening. Like, I found it very pleasant that, I'm happy for Lou.
Yeah.
That he seems very comfortable in his new role.
It made me really happy because we've always loved Lou, the character, and it was sad that he had to go. And we thought it, when that stuff happens, usually it's just, that's it, right? There's some it's final. And as when Brock Nelson got traded, like when it made us sad, even though it's the right thing to do, because, that means Brock Nelson doesn't play for the New York Islanders anymore, and he never will, right? And I felt that way about Lou, and he's in his age, so you think like, that's it, he's out of hockey probably. So reading this, like, I just had the biggest smile on my face. The biggest smile on my face, and I had one line that I just loved because it was just classic Lou, where they were, as you said, like they were very clear that he's not wink wink advising anything with hockey or anything like that, but he was talking about how he provides assistance where needed for Matthew Darsh or something, and he said, "We communicate. I am a fan of Matthew. I like him." Yes. We communicate. Funny. I love that. Just such Lou speak. And I love that he's going to the Board of Governors. I mean, does he need a title? No, he's just Lou. He's just, and he has an office away from team headquarters, which cracks me up too. I like to think of him in like the back room of like a steakhouse on the North Shore or something, just doing his work. When I used to work at a bar in Valley Stream, Buckley's, which actually just closed, and shout out to Buckley's for all the great memories. But there is an office in like the back part of the bar, right before the kitchen, and I like to and there was just old school, one of those like old school receipt printers. On the desk. Yeah. And I just like to think of Lou with one of those things on this desk in like a nice steakhouse somewhere. But
like an old mobster, he just like, it's like the back of an Italian restaurant or barber shop or something.
Yes.
And he just sits there and they just bring food, espresso, whatever. And he just eats it. And that's his place. And he does business. He has like maybe a little pad he takes out of his jacket. He writes a note.
Yep.
He hands it to somebody. That person will relay that note to whoever needs it. Yep. That whole thing.
Andrews, how is the family? Good, good. Kiss on the cheek. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm so happy because I am a fan of Lou Lamoriello. I'm a fan of Lou Lamoriello as a New York Islander, and Lou Lamoriello is still a New York Islander, and it makes me quite chuffed that he's watching this and has a rooting interest in the Islanders and isn't thinking like, they just kept me around. I could be a part of this still with Schaefer and that. And his fingerprints are still all over the team and all over the culture and the tight knit group that Mike Rupp was talking about. And so I mean, it just, this week has been really great. Of the wins, the performances, the late nights, the banter with like you and fellow Islander fans. It's just been a lot of fun to be an Islander fan. And this was part of that. I hope to that. And also another great line was that his advisory role with Malkin extends beyond this season too. So he's not going anywhere either.
No.
Like, it's just so good. I couldn't be happier that he's still around. So
it's right. Now I'm just picturing Lou as like Paul Sorvino from Goodfellas, like at a barbecue, just like eating, and he's, Darsh comes in, he's like, everybody, I want you to meet the kid Matthew. And it's like, oh, hey, like that.
Well, the first footage of him after he got let go was him and like John Collins at Eisenhower Park smoking cigars.
Right. So maybe he's just doing that. He's like hanging out. He goes to the gym.
He deserves it. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's like, when you get the gym membership at work, so you don't want to like leave, because you get the free gym membership. So maybe it's sort of that. My favorite parts of this whole thing, I mean, the quotes you mentioned are great, but my favorite parts of this were that this is not a new concept for Lou, because he was supposed to take a similar advisory role with the Devils when Ray Shero took over as general manager. But then Brendan Shanahan calls, who obviously Lou drafted, for the Devils many years ago. And it's like, hey, do you want to come run the Leafs? And Lou was like, well, I can't pass up running the Toronto Maple Leafs. So he leaves. And then again, when he's getting passed over for Kyle Dubas, he was supposed to be an advisor to Shanahan and the Leafs. And then, but they're like, hey, this guy, Scott Malkin, who owns the Islanders, wants to talk to you. And he's like, all right, well, I guess I'll talk to him. And the next thing you know, he's running the Islanders. And he was supposed to only work for them for 4 years and then transition to an advisory role. But obviously the 4th year under Barry Trotz, everything went completely haywire. He let Trotz go, to, I guess, collect his money and get his shit together before taking over the Predators. And so I guess he just couldn't like leave in a lurch everybody at that point, which I guess makes sense. So this has been kind of brewing, and I think that also probably adds to why he's very comfortable doing this. But I do love the outside office. The quotes are great. He's like, I never thought I'd leave New Jersey. Even today, I never thought I'd be anywhere but New Jersey. Similar to my days at Providence. They had opportunities there. I thought I'd never leave. And now he's clearly never going to leave Long Island, So, it did make me happy. He's not listed on the team's, media directory, or not media directory, business directory or anything like that. So he said it's been humbling how many people have reached out to him to check up on him. Because they're just like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
right.
Where are you? What happened to you? But the other thing too about wow, why is he going to, I'm sure people are like, oh, why is he going to these board of governors meetings? Dude, he's been going to the board of governors meetings with these same assholes for 40 years. Like, of course he's going to go. These are all his friends. Like, why wouldn't he go? Right. So, him and Jim Rutherford probably.
Who's going to pull pranks on Kevin Adams? If Lou's not there.
Because we all know this is the oldest of old boys networks, right? These guys have been around for 100 years. So I was happy that this was cool, and at the same time, I believe him that he's not advising Matthew Darcy. He even says like nothing. The worst thing for a general manager is have somebody hanging over your shoulder. And I know he believes that. So hopefully that's the way it stays.
But I like, we were joking about the Palmieri and the Boquist deals and being in the drawer already. And for Darsh too. So he's like, listen, I'm going to be over there in a different office. But I left you a couple things in your drawer that need your immediate attention, Matthew. And I am a fan of yours. So just remember.
Let's communicate.
Yes, let's communicate. I think, you said it. He probably just didn't realize how much he was doing while he was doing it, even at his age. And God, he just must be cracking himself up. I hope that he's watching the expanded coverage of whether it's the locker room post game or the whatever.
He's got to be watching the On the Island web series, right?
And he's probably, that Bozzy is so funny. Like I hope he's got like a burner Instagram account that he's just loving watching.
I never thought Cal Clutterbuck would be a broadcaster.
I hope he comes to a game, Lou.
Yeah,
open invite, buddy. Come
sure.
Enjoy a game from this side of the window and see what it's like to be an Islander fan. I got a Pierre Engvall jersey with your name on it. You were just as big a fan of Pierre as mine, apparently.
Yeah. One for every season that he's signed for. But No, I think he should come. And again, that doesn't negate what we talked about with Sab. They should have a Lou Lamoriello night. And as Sab noted, it would be so funny having a camera crew follow Lou for like 24 hours for both of these things, because he would be extremely uncomfortable, and it would be fun to watch.
It'd be so, it would be incredible.
Yeah, but I think ultimately he understands that, you know, it was the right time, and this is the new era, and you know, again, he's letting Darsh do his thing. So
and we got on the team for some of the decisions they made in the offseason, particularly with the radio. But this was the right thing to do too. Like, give balls in your court, Lou, if you want to still be involved, if you want to still be part of a hockey organization. Like, there's no reason for the Islanders to be like, we're just cutting ties completely. You're out the door to this guy, who completely refurbished the identity of the entire team, helped get them into the new building and all that. And obviously this ownership group is indebted to him, because he was the guy who kind of steadied the ship for them. So, it was really, you said the word heartening. I think that's the perfect word for that. So, a really, really heartening week, just generally for the Islanders. And this was a really nice cherry on top. I'm so happy that it happened, that this article came out so we could talk about it today, rather than having to wait a week to talk about our guy, Lou.
I mean, it just came out of nowhere, so it was
cool. That's the best part of it too, because remember in like May, everyone was like, well, he's still around, you know, when that footage came out, everyone's like, oh, he's still part of the team, he's
right.
And then he kind of disappeared, and nobody heard from him again. And and as you said, 6 months later, out of nowhere, Pierre rumbles, and here we go. Lou's back.
So thank you, Pierre LeBrun, and I hope your next rumbling is an interview with Reese Witherspoon, because that's another mystery that we still need unlocked. What's going on there? And she should come to a game too. Thank you very much for listening. That'll close it up for this episode. Again, we will be back our normal time next week. We're going to record after the game against the Kraken, so we'll be back to our regular schedule, and we'll see what this week holds for them. Reminder that we are on Patreon, patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety for ad-free episodes, bonus shows, written posts, chats, and a whole lot more. Try a 7-day free trial of our country club tier today, or just sign up for free. Get our weekly release calendar. Our theme song is Morning Haze by Family Dinner. Listen to more of their music on Spotify. Read Lighthouse Hockey every single day for your most up-to-date Islanders news and discussion. Islanders Anxiety podcast are part of the Fans First Sports Network. Find us wherever you can. Find us wherever you find your podcasts, and on YouTube. Please leave us a review where you can. Please subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Shop VintageIceHockey.com. Try wines from the Pinot Project. I've totally butchered this entire read. One of these days I'll get this right. Mike, any final thoughts on what's been... I don't remember the last time I felt this good. Like, in talking to you. I mean, I always feel good talking to you, but like, felt this good about where the Islanders are. Hopefully they don't screw it up by losing the next 4 games. But like, I am legitimately excited and happy to have watched these 4 games and to see where this team is at right now.
Yeah, there's what's the opposite of catharsis, right? Like when catharsis is when the Islanders drag us through the mud and we have to come on here and let it out, and it feels good to talk to you and to
getting excited, getting revved up.
Exalting. Are we just exalting? Are we exuberant? I don't know what we are. Like this is different. It feels good to unload happiness rather than just stress and anger baggage. So hopefully it continues, and this is a very, very, very likable team right now. And that's really nice. It's nice to have that back. So and it's nice to have a very, very likable longtime hockey executive back as well in the fold.
Whatever the word is, it definitely sounds like something Walt Frazier would say. So something along those lines. But like I said, we'll see where the Islanders have us next week. Thanks so much for listening, and we will talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.